All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. This episode, we're all set up. We have our attic access. We got installed our 220 volt. We got to run one more 220 volt line. That's for this AC unit. So what we have here is a 20.5 SEER, 18,000 BTUs Pioneer Split Mini. Now this one isn't one of the ones that you mount on the wall. This one's actually a ceiling cassette where it goes in the ceiling and it directs the airflow in 8 different directions. So this way we'll be set up where we can have heat in here so we can do the floors with epoxy, because right now it's pretty cold. So we'll go ahead and get this unpacked and then start installing it. All right, here we go. So we got it all unpacked. Next thing we need to do, I want it centered width-wise on the garage and centered lengthwise. So we're gonna measure it out, figure out where it's gonna go. Given the joist studs, it's gonna have to probably shift a little bit to either side, but we should be able to get it pretty close. So the cassette unit itself is 22.5 inches. So when you have your center joist at 24-inch increments, given material thickness, 22.5 is exactly between the joists. So this can be installed one of two ways. It can be installed on drop hangers if you have a drop ceiling, or it can be installed straight up between those joist hangers. Sorry, between those joists. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut it out to the joist and install it perfectly in there, right to the joist. So let's get to it. Let's measure it out, figure out where our hole needs to go, and cut it out. $15 feet, their center point. All right, so we need 12.5 feet from the back wall to get it centered. So one of the things with new construction is as a house settles, you will get some cracks. One of said cracks actually exists right here, which is 11.25 inches from our center point, which 22.5, 11.25. This is going to be one edge of the AC unit right here. And then we got to go 11.25 on this side. Which brings us to 22.5. So we'll go ahead and cut the square right here. Our joist runs right about here, and the other one runs right about here. So we'll go ahead, and we know this line right here, so we can cut along this until we get to the joist on both sides, and then run it out to the 22.5 mark. little bit of an issue. So they supply us with these guys where you can screw it to the side and then you basically thread it through and it's got a little brackets on the side. So what I can do is perhaps cut this down, but then I need a little spacer block in here to make it work. Or I can get little L brackets and screw them to the sides and mount it up that way. So let me think about this for a minute and we'll see what we're gonna do.
Soon after.
All right, so for mounting it, I'm making these brackets right here. And we'll go ahead and use those. So it's just a 3/8 hole and then 2 1/4-inch holes. That way we can screw it to the 2x4s and then screw it in and then bolt it together with the AC unit to hold it in place. So I'm gonna make 3 more of those and then we'll go ahead and install it. So if it didn't go quite as planned, I had to take the brackets back off to fold them over, but we got that done. Now we got screws in laterally and vertically, so we're good on that. Next thing, I guess we can just slap that guy on in here and see how it fits. All right. It's not the lightest thing in the world. So we're gonna put this all towards the back corner. These are our low side, high side lines, high side, low side, and then our drain for the condensation. So point it all that way because we're all gonna run it all towards the back, out the back door. So I'm gonna put this in, see if we can get the nuts on there, and if we get the nuts on there, should be able to cinch them up. All right, let me catch you guys up as to what was going on here. So the joists are not parallel. So what I had to do, I had to take and I got a clamp pushing outwards up here. Then I have another one pulling inwards right here. So this way, now I got the room that we need. So I gotta trim this drywall back up and then I gotta put some new sheetrock screws in it. And that should take care of all the room that we need to install the AC unit. Pain in the butt, wish it was straight, but it is what it is, so roll the punches. Trim this out, sheetrock screws. All right, we have both snugged up all the way around. So now I gotta pop up top and then cinch it all down. So I'll go ahead and do that, and then tomorrow we can start on the wiring.
The next day.
All right, so yesterday we got the cassette all installed, it's all leveled out, and it's in there. When the lid on it comes in, it's gonna seal around the edge and it's gonna seal to the unit itself, so that's gonna be completely sealed up. Now, next thing we need to do, we need to install the wiring and the outside unit. So let's hop onto it. I think we're gonna start with getting some of the wiring done. Scratch that, we're gonna put a hole in the side of the roof line so we can feed our lines through and we know where it goes. So that hole is exactly where we need it to be. It's gonna make a perfect circle all the way down to the rafter or joist. So now let's make sure we got the size of a hole correct. And we need the hole to be hair over 2 inches. Right, so now we'll come back to the electrical. We got the hole in there. We just got to do one more hole for a conduit and then put the wire in. That's quick and easy. What I'm more concerned about with is getting a frame done for the outside unit. So we need to weld together a little mounting frame and go from there. Alright, so we got our 1-inch hole right here for our conduit. We're going to glue this guy in here, screw that down to the wall, and then we're going to do a drop to our box, and then from the box it'll be to the unit. So let's go ahead, glue this in, put it in there, mount it up. All right, so we got it up here on the mount. It's all secure down. It's not going anywhere. Next, we gotta feed our line in under the roof. And that way we can get the rest of it up under here and connect it all up. right, so we got these lines connected. We have our power lines connected that go between this guy, which is the inverter for the drive unit, all the way to our head unit. We fed the line in with our drain hose, which I'm using a 1/2-inch PVC pipe. We have this guy set up to interface between the drain line from the unit and the hose itself. We're gonna glue it in place, and then we're gonna go ahead and tighten up the lines on that end, feed the wire in, get it ready. All right, up here, so I went ahead, I put the conduit piece on, but I need to go and get some 1/2-inch conduit, and that's flex conduit. So just compression fittings for now. I'm gonna go ahead, feed wire through, get it all hooked up just so we can test the unit. So this is our vacuum line, vacuum port. So we're gonna connect up here and evacuate the system. These are just caps for our release valves to release the air system. Because this unit comes with all the refrigerant inside of it. So all we got to do is evacuate our airline, make sure that we have no leaks by verifying that the vacuum holds, and then opening these guys up. And that's gonna fill the system, and we'll be able to turn it on after we connect the breaker. All right, so we evacuated this out, we put the cap back on. Now we're gonna go ahead and open up our valves. All right. Alright folks, I have no idea what's going on. There's an extra 5-pin wire over here. There's a 5-pin wire that I already connected to the motors. There is no place to connect this extra 5-pin wire. So we're gonna flick the breaker on and see what happens. Okay, it beeped, it flashed. Now what? Maybe that extra wire is just for an older design. So let's get the remote and see if it runs. And if it does, we'll close the panel back up. All right, so I just kicked it back on after closing it up. I don't hear any air coming out yet. So the fan's not on, but I hear it going outside. there it goes. So that was the timer for reset on the fan. And we got hot air. Yeah! Alright, so now that we have this installed, I still gotta button up a couple things on it. Gotta get a little bit of insulation pipe over those two connections down here, and then we have to button everything up outside. But there it is. The ceiling cassette unit is installed and it works. It works. Well, that's gonna be it for this episode. That all works. A couple little touch-ups to do. Nothing too big, just finishing up outside and then getting some insulation pipe on the connections up here. So on the next episode, we're gonna be doing epoxy on the floors. So stick around, subscribe, like, share, do what you do. See you next time.
I'll be cruising in my lane fast, call it high speed. I've been working hard, yeah, I've been working nightly. If you think you'll win, ha, not fucking likely. I be taking shots, yeah, cold-blooded, icy. Watching numbers grow is what I call sightseeing. In the front row, run it up when they hype me.